just got done watching season 5, episode 6. It's 10:30, so literally hopped on right after while it's still fresh in my mind. Basically gonna jump into it. We had a lot to happen in this episode. So to start this episode, we start out with Aya. We didn't get any of her in last week's episode, and this episode starts off pretty much with the same thing we saw her doing last time we saw her, washing the bodies, basically preparing them to go past that door, which we found out what's behind that door, but we still didn't know. So she's washing them, she's clipping the nails, fixing the hair, making sure everything's good, and she's just doing body after body, washing, clipping hair, shipping them out, washing, clipping hair. And then so she's finally getting tired of it. She wants to know what's behind the door. She tries to go for it, but again, that girl, who's like kind of like an older version of her, keeps her from going in there. She tries to like basically test her again and play the game. She tells her this like heartwarming story of how I'm from the same place you are. I had a noble father, blah blah blah. She's like, do you believe me? Do you not? And when she was saying it at first, I'm like, oh okay. So I'm like, they're gonna become friends. They're gonna connect. And then she's like, did you believe everything I just told you? And then I'm sitting there like, was she telling the truth? Like I don't know what was going on. So then I don't even know the man's name. The one that's like just basically leading the House of Faces. He comes and wakes her up at night. He's like, who are you? And as soon as she answered Aya, I'm like, oh shit, this isn't going bad. So she like, I don't know how he knows what's a lie and what's not. I mean, of course we know. She's like, yeah, I stabbed a butcher's boy. He slaps her. That's a lie. Saying that she didn't care for the Hound at all. He starts beating the shit out of her. And you can clearly see she's not ready. She's still hung up on revenge, and she's not ready. She's not ready to commit to what it takes to be a faceless, I guess in her case, faceless person. She just wants her revenge, but I feel like she wants the people to know that like it was her. She doesn't want to be like kind of he was last season when he was saving Aya. And he was killing people, and they didn't know who was killing all these people. They didn't know. I feel like Aya wants to like stab them right through the heart, looking in their eyes and knowing, but that's clearly not part of the process. So then we have not an old man, we just have an older man, a dad, come in with his daughter. He says he's been around everywhere in Bravos tried to find the best healers, and he just cannot. I don't know what his daughter had, what kind of sickness she had, but she's sick. She's been going through pain for, it looks like, the majority of all her life. And there's no way he can fix it. And there's no one else in there but Aya. And I'm sitting there like, is she allowed to do this? Like, does she have permission to, I guess, basically kill the girl? Clearly there's something in the water that when they drink it, it's GG. Like, it's over. But she basically tells the girl, she just makes up a story. And then I'm trying to think to myself, is that what it means to be faceless, to be no one? At like any point in time, you can just be anybody you want. She tells this story basically like, this will make your pain go away, it'll make your father happy, and she gets the girl to drink the water and the girl dies. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe that's part of what being no one and being faceless means, other than just going around killing people and not having a face to track back to you. So after she prepares the girl, they walk down this like dark candlelit corridor, and you just go into this huge library, basically library of faces. It's just columns after columns of faces, faces, faces. And I'm pretty sure it's just faces. I'm pretty sure it's not like buried bodies up to faces. I think it's just straight up faces. And he asks her if she's ready to be no one. And it's kind of like what I thought. I don't think she's ready to be no one, but I think she's ready to be someone else. She doesn't want to be Aya anymore. She wants to be an assassin. She wants to be like Assassin Aya, not Winterfell Aya. She just wants to be that killer, but she still wants to be herself. She's still holding on to like her mother, her father, her siblings, and all that. So we got pretty good development with Aya's character in this episode. So jumping to the next scenes, we get to see Tyrion and Mormont, and then I didn't pair it together. Maybe I wasn't listening, but I didn't know Mormont's father was Lord Commander of the Night's Watch back a season ago, and he didn't even know that his own father had died. Tyrion tells him how he was assassinated by his own man. Mormont looked really tight about that. Cut the conversation right after that ended. But I had no comparison at all that was his father. I wonder why he chose that path. It looks like there's some background there, but we didn't get to see it. Hopefully we'll get to see more on that. And then Tyrion and Mormont get captured, sort of captured. I wonder if they're free. They're kind of like enslaved. Tyrion gets this close to getting killed, but you're like, you know he's not gonna die. He hasn't even made it. Like, he hasn't even made it to her yet. There's no way he's gonna die. And he starts making these stories about Mormont and like how he's done this. He defeated Jaime Lannister and just all in a jousting battle. And then Mormont tells the stories like, yeah, I've took on a Dothraki lord or whatever you call them. And they notice that people get paid off their fighters. It's kind of like if you ever watch Gladiator, where like there's somebody selling the fighter to fight and that person's making money. That's kind of what they see out of Mormont. So that's kind of really all we got out of Tyrion and Mormont that episode. Then we jump into the kind of like Baelish Cersei back and forth. And I've watched some other Game of Thrones reviews from like other people. Baelish, he knows how to play the game, and he just talks so well. Seeing him, I miss like in like season 1 and 2, seeing him and what's the bald guy's name? I forget what his name is, but just seeing their intellectual battles of back and forth bantering, it's just so smooth and so good. And he knows what he's doing, and he tells Cersei like, I'm only here to serve the throne and all this stuff, and he's like, because he knows that she's the one behind all the like cult thing, rounding up everybody, and he almost gets rounded up himself. But again, he knows how to play the game. He knows that she's behind it, so he's like, do you really want Cersei? She's expecting me. Do you really want to be the reason I'm delayed? And they let him go through. He's like, let me lead the army. Let me march on the north. Which kind of makes me think, is he going to... I don't know. He says he's going to lead his army of the Vale. Because I don't think he said anything about leading Lannister troops. Because I don't think they have troops to march. Because, who is it? Lord Tywin, was it his, I don't know if it was his brother, his uncle, the one that's like the leader of the armies. In a couple episodes earlier this season, he was sitting at the, he was part of the council, and he says, I'm going back to Castle Rock. I'm not hanging out here. I'm out. And he commands the army. I think he took the army with him. So I think what he's going to do is march from the Vale north while Stannis is coming in, and kind of form an alliance with Stannis, and then take away the north, and then while Stannis marches even further south, take out Stannis from behind, and then the whole thing. And he's playing the game, but I think, and he says, and she's like, I want Sansa's head. She finds out Sansa's alive. She still thinks Sansa's the one that helped kill Joffrey, and she says, I want Sansa's head on a spike. And he's like, I'll serve you no matter what. But I think his true, like, he still loves Catelyn, like the original Mama Stark. And I think when it comes down to it, he'll protect Sansa regardless of whatever it takes. While we're still talking about Westeros and King's Landing, we have the exchange between basically the cult and the Queen. Her grandmother or mother comes back down. Her and Cersei have their exchanges like, do you really want to like spite us? We're the ones funding you right now. We're giving you wheat, gold. Do you really want to do this? And so he calls the Queen on stand, basically knowing the guy he has in the back, knowing he's going to testify. He basically gives her a chance, like, do you know what your brother's doing? And she says no. So then they bring in the guy from the brothel, like Baelish's second in command that runs it. And he's like, yeah, we've slept together before. The first time he met me, I was his squire, and blah, 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 blah. And you see Cersei try to, like, say something like, oh, no, he would never do that. How could you ever accuse him of that? She knows what's going to happen. And they basically find them as liars. They take the Queen. And I cannot stand Tommen. I mean, I hated Joffrey, don't get me wrong, but at least Joffrey, at the flick of a wrist, he would kill. In that first encounter, when he would have met that cult on those cobble steps, it would have gone down right there in the city without hesitation with Joffrey. And Tommen, Queen Marjorie is looking back at him, and he's just like looking at his mother, and he's like and he's just pretty much a bit. He can't pull the trigger. Like, you kill them. That's your queen. You are the king of everything right now. And he can't pull the trigger. He doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't want to upset his mom. He doesn't want to hurt his queen. He doesn't know what's going on. So that's pretty much, so basically Queen Marjorie and her brother are now thrown in jail, and they're both awaiting trial. So then we jump over to Dorne, and the Sand Snakes are getting ready to go. Jaime finally enters the city, and I can't believe they had it happen that fast. I thought he was going to have to like infiltrate for a couple episodes to get up to the tower. You see how like he just easily got up to the tower, like where the prince is? Like, what if I'm someone that just wants to assassinate the prince? Like, you could just easily walk up there, and it took a while for like I don't if it's the Dornish army or security, wherever. It took them a while to get over there. So Jaime, they're going back and forth, they're fighting, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why, I forget my man's name, the one that's been basically killing people since the first like fight by combat. Why didn't he just cut that whip? Like, that girl wasn't stabbing him or anything, she just kept getting in the way. Like, he would get close to killing him, and then that whip would come and grab him. I'm like, why don't you just slice that whip? I don't get it. So, and I was thinking the Sand Snakes are supposed to be like, when you say it, it's like, oh, Sand Snakes, they sound like they were rolling like a couple thousand deep, and it was just those three. And so they get captured. It looks like Martell's wife gets captured. So if that was the Sand Snakes, that kind of uproar ended real quick. They don't end up capturing the girl, and I'm interested to see what happens with that. Do they let Jaime kind of walk around in the city? I saw in the like season 5 preview of Jaime kind of walking around in Dorne in like Dornish clothing, not the like night stuff he was in, but just kind of walking through the city. So I wonder if the prince is kind of like, you helped save my daughter and my son, or my like soon-to-be daughter, you can walk amongst us. So I'm interested to see what happens with that. And then the last part, the end of this episode, just like, it's like, really, HBO, like, you're gonna put that on TV? Miranda goes into Sansa's chambers, and she's trying to get in her head. I didn't know like they were getting married like right then and there this episode. I was like, I thought it would be bigger than that. They're just out in the woods just getting married with like 5 people. I thought it'd be like some big grand thing, but so she's basically bathing her up for her wedding day, wedding night, whatever you want to call it. And she's basically trying to get in her head, like, you sure you want to do this? All the other girls, like, the dogs ripped them apart, and we did this, and we did that. And Sansa, like, she just hits her with, like, she has matured a lot. When the first time when she was in King's Landing, going against her sister, not wanting to upset Joffrey and all that stuff, and now she's like, how long have you loved him? And Miranda's just like, and she freezes up and walks out. So Theon comes to walk her, and I'm just like, Theon, just say you didn't kill her brother. Say it. And he says nothing. They don't end up holding arms down there. They walk with each other, but they don't end up latching arms. And they end up getting married. And Sansa's, maybe it just seemed longer because it was on TV, but it seems like she was real hesitant. People are starting to look around, and she said she would. And then I forgot the whole, like, married, they spend the night together. And this is where his kind of, like, sadistic shit is starting to come out. And he pretty much rapes her on TV right before the episode ends. He tells her to take off her clothes. Oh, you're a virgin. Don't lie to me. And like Theon, Reek tries to leave, and he's like, no, Reek, you stay. You've known her since she was a little girl. Now it's time to see her become a woman. And I'm just like, they're really gonna show this on TV? I thought maybe it would cut to black. Maybe we'd hear a moan or two. He rips off that dress, bends her over, and Theon's just there. But it's terrible that it happened. Like, she's gone through so much shit. I was just hoping, this is the one time I would hope Baelish would just walk in and like push somebody down the moon roof or something. But he rapes her right there, and you kind of see the episode previews for next week. She still looks shaken up. But her and Theon, well, she explains to Theon in like the next episode preview, like, I have people in the north that'll fight for me. So I wonder if Theon kind of stepped up and said, hey, I didn't kill your brothers in the next episode. And I think that her getting raped in front of him, it's gonna start snapping in his head, like, we gotta take this motherfucker out. I'm not Reek anymore. I'm still Ironborn. I still need to fuck shit up. So maybe that him and Sansa will come together and start fucking shit up. I don't know. Just a lot happened in this episode. We didn't get to see any Jon Snow at all in this episode. We didn't get to see Daenerys or any kind of dragons. But it was good character development. And I'm interested to see what happens from there, so let me know your thoughts in the comment below. That was Season 5, Episode 6. Like, subscribe if you haven't. Leave your comments down below what you thought about the video, and I appreciate it.